And welcome to a You Show here on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station. I'm your host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt, here for another show of a Greater You Show. And again, we are an iHeart Station. Anywhere you get your podcast or where you hear your podcast, you can find us there. Spreaker. Again, if anywhere you go, you can find us. So we have a lot of great shows here. If you're looking at us on YouTube, IntellectualRadio.com YouTube, then you can also hit the subscribe button there and then hit the bell so you'll be notified of all the great shows we have going on Sunday through Saturday. We have shows going on mornings, afternoons, evenings, a lot of great hosts, a lot of great shows, political shows, entertainment shows, comedy shows, religious shows, spiritual shows, relationship shows, self-help shows, educational shows. So a lot of different shows. I'm sure you can find 5 or 10 good hosts that you like here and that you like to follow on other platforms as well. So please take the time to do that when you get the opportunity. So again, this is the Greater You Show. This is a self-help show. It's like a self-help class, a self-help coaching session, a self-help book club, all wrapped into one session. So one powerful 50 minutes or so. So we're going to, for those who may be new to me, and if you want to get promoted on the show, you can get in contact with me at fullerpurposemedia@gmail.com. And not promoting anyone this evening, this show, but future shows, you can actually get in touch with me and I'll promote you. So this show here is based off, if you're new to me and new to Intellectual Radio, what this show is based on is a series that I do. And then in that series, we do different sessions within that series for maybe 4 or 5 sessions on that particular topic. And the topic is always based on a book that I've written on that particular subject. And so this series, we're talking about how to how to set and get goals, how to set and get your goals, right? So that's the name of this series, How to Set and Get Your Goals, Part 1. So that's based on the book that I have written called Goal Setter, Goal Getter. So we're going to be talking about goals and how important they are and how to get them, not just to get them, but how to set them so you can get them. So goals is a particular topic that a lot of people like to talk about, and especially at the beginning of the year. A lot of people like to say, I got these goals. I'm going to do all these different things. And, I'm a person that believes in goals. I think you should set goals, not just at the beginning of the year. I think you should set goals throughout the year. I mean, and as we get through the series, you're going to see how I think that's so important. So what we're going to do is talk about one of the things of why you need to set goals and why goals are so important. And one thing you must realize about the reality is life is questioning you. And we're coming out of lesson 1 from the book, but this particular series. And you must realize that life is asking you a question every day, right? And the question that life is asking you pretty much is, where are you going? Where are you going in your life? And that's what goals provide. Goals put you in a position to know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, then how do you know you're going to get there? And if you don't know where you're going, when are you going to get there? If you know where you're going, why are you going there, right? So the purpose of goals and what life is doing every day, it's doing it to you, it's doing it to me. It's been doing this to everyone as long as we're on the planet. Now, we may not realize that life is asking us a question. However, life is asking you a question every day. Where are you going? In other words, what are your goals? What goals do you have that you're working towards? Goals are so instrumental for your life. Goals to me are like vitamins. And I call goals life vitamins. And here's what I mean. Because vitamins are supplements. Now, you can live a life and not have any goals. And that's okay. It's not against the law to live your life for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 80 years, 90 years, or whatever, and not have goals. That's not against the law. You can do that if you like. However, but when you add goals to your life, it's like adding vitamins, or what I call life vitamins, to your life. And the supplement, it adds something to your life. And when you add some goals to your life, what happens is your life will become more attractive to you. Now, see, a lot of us live ugly lives, not because we ugly people. We live ugly lives because we don't have any goals. And it's okay to wake up one day and not have a goal, but how many days can you do that? How many days, weeks, months, years, decades are you planning on doing that? And what happens is a lot of us live this life not really realizing how important it is to have goals. The fact of the matter is goals make the world go around. The world going around regarding people is all predicated on goals. If you don't have your own goals, whether you have your own goals or not, you're going to actually make some goals come true, right? Uh, and that's not a bad thing if goals come true for other people, because when you have goals, then you actually are part of someone else's goal too, whether you realize that or not. And that's not a bad thing. But since you're going to live your life accomplishing goals, doesn't it make sense to have your own too? Since you're going to be a part of this plan, a part of this thing called life, going around for people. See, if, let's say, for instance, they said they had in your city or state, they have a goal to get so many people, I don't know, $5, right? And that's the goal. They're trying to give away all this $5 money, right? Well, if that's a goal, they're trying to give away so much money, you're part of the goal when you get the $5, right? So you may say, well, I didn't set that goal $5. Well, you didn't have to set it. Someone else set the goal, and then you were part of the goal because they set the goal to give out $5, and there you were. Now, they may be a little elementary and a little facetious and everything, but I want you to see that goals are always happening. Countries are setting up goals. States are setting up goals. Continents are setting up goals. Employers are setting up goals. Big companies, large companies, smaller companies, all have goals. People across the street from you have goals. Your neighborhood have goals. Your employer have goals. See, all these goals make the whole world go around. If no one had goals, nothing would ever get achieved by anybody. So things are getting achieved every day by someone every day. And if you don't have any of your own goals, then none of your stuff will ever get achieved for you because you don't have any goals anyway. So when life asks you a question, where are you going? You don't have any goals to say, I'm going here. I'm going over there. I'm going here in certain parts of my life. So what you want to realize is that you have to realize that goals make your life attractive. And they make your life attractive to you. If your future don't look that attractive, it's probably because you haven't set any goals in the present. And if you haven't set any goals in the present, you're probably doing what you did in the past, which is then setting goals. So now think about this. If goals make my life look attractive and I haven't set goals in 5, 10, 15 years, that means every time I look back at my past, that looks ugly. When I'm looking at my present, that looks ugly. And I look into my future and that looks ugly. Not because I'm ugly. It's the reason because I don't have any goals in the future. I don't have any in the present, and I didn't have any in the past. So you have to realize if you want to have an attractive life to you, that means you have to start setting some goals for you. Now, obviously, we're going to get into a lot of different things in this series. So don't worry. We'll get to some other intricate parts of goal setting and goal getting. But you must realize it's not just setting goals, it's getting goals. That's why the name of this book here is called Goal Setter and Goal Getter, right? You don't just want to set goals, you want to get goals you set, right? But you can't get goals if you don't set goals. And the purpose of setting goals is to get goals. They go together. You need them both, right? You need to set them so you can get them, right? And if you don't get them, it's probably you didn't set them. Now, don't get me wrong. I know sometimes we can set some goals. And again, I'll get into some more of that as we move on through the series on how to actually do some things so you can get the goals that you set and do it a little bit more consistently in your life as well. Now, when I said your life is attractive, and I said your life it's like vitamins, and goals add to your life, right? So when they add to your life, what they do, they add life to your life. See, a lot of people are walking around on the planet saying that they're bored. I'm so bored. I have nothing to do. It's so boring, right? And see, people that don't have goals talk like that all the time because they don't have any goals that they're working towards. See, if you're going to actually be a person that achieves something in life, and I think that you can, and I think that you should, that if you're going to be a person that achieves something, one thing about achievers is that they're not bored people. You can't be an achiever and be bored at the same time. That doesn't go together. So if you are bored, it's probably because you don't have any goals set. And if you are achieving, I guarantee you that you're probably not bored in your life because you are actually working towards achieving goals, meaning when life asks you in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, hey, where are you going? You have these goals that you have that you're working toward and making them part of your life. So to kind of give a surface part of goals, that goals is pretty much something that you want that you don't have. See, this is why I said goals add to your life, right? Because once you get the goal, then you have it in your life. You don't have to want it anymore because you have it. So let's use this something real simple. Let's say, for instance, you said, I want to get a car, right? That's my goal, to get a car. Well, once you get the car, it's not a goal anymore, because now the car is part of your life. Every day it's in your driveway or your garage, is in front of your house, right? You're driving it around because that's the goal you had to get the car, right? So once you get it, you add it to your life. Now, this means you need to understand that in all actuality, your life is big. Now, I know a lot of people say, no, my life can't be big. Yeah, everybody's life is big. Now, again, we may not recognize it and they may not be aware how big our life is, but your life is a big life. And because you have a big life, the more you add to your life in regards to goals, the bigger your life gets, right? Well, if your life seems small, it's probably because you don't have a lot of goals. Now, I used the goal as just the example of a car just a minute ago. Now, all goals aren't material, and we'll get into that as we go through the series. There's a whole lot of goals that you can have that has nothing to do with a car, house, boat, or plane, or money, right? It's a whole lot of things that you have as far as goals. But when you add those to your life, it makes your life bigger. Well, the bigger your life gets, mean that you have gotten bigger and you have expanded your life because you have added some goals into your life. Your life looks more attractive to you, not because you're better than anyone else. It's because you have accomplished or achieved some of the goals that you set out to get. So when you achieve certain things, you have to look at it that you want to be an achiever. Now, not only is life big, your life is big, right? My life is big. Everybody on the planet life is big, right? Also, that means your life at the same time, all of our lives are short. In other words, we're not all going to be here for 400, 500 years, right? Everybody got their time limit on this thing. Now, none of us really know what that time limit is, but we all got a certain amount of time while we're going to be here. So in that aspect, life is short compared to time. Life was going on before you and I got here. Life been going on since you and I been here, and life going to be going on when you and I leave from here. So that means that life going to do what it does. So our time on this thing called a planet, or in this thing called life, is going to be short. However, that doesn't negate the fact that our life is big because of the fact that we live on this thing called Earth, right? So you must realize that you have a big life, even though life and time is short, right? But at the same time, you have enough time in your life to accomplish some things, to achieve some things in life. And now, regardless of how much time you have, you still have enough time. So let's look at this in hypothetical, right? That we just say 10 years, right? And if you have 10 years of life, that's about, 3,650 days, right? Obviously, that's about 120 months, right? So that's a lot of time that you have. It's over 5 million minutes, right? So you have a lot of time to achieve something. Now, if you think that's a 10-year span, don't you think that's enough time to achieve at least 10 things? I think you can achieve more than 10 things. I think if you think about it, you say, yeah, I can achieve more than 10 things in 10 years. Yeah, we all can. But if you're not aware that you have to set goals in order to make that happen, then you can go 10 years and not achieve 10 things. You can go 10 years and not achieve 5 things. You can just be here, just drifting around, wandering, just careening from one place to another, like a tumbleweed in the wind, just going anywhere. Wind blow this way, you going that way. Wind blow another way, you going that way. Well, see, goals are necessary for you to actually accessorize your life. It's like a lady that women accessorize quite a bit when they get dressed, right? So they don't just get a dress, right? Because that's just too plain. They have to get earrings, they got to get certain makeup, they got to get, certain necklaces and rings and bracelets and shoes and all these different things have to go along with this outfit, right? This just can't be an outfit, just a dress on a mannequin, right? They have to accessorize that. Well, what happens when they accessorize the dress or the outfit, what happens is they make the outfit look better because of how they accessorize it. Well, the same thing that happens with you and I in our life. See, goals are what you use to accessorize this thing called life. Life is kind of bland without accessorizing it with some goals. See, just going through life from 0 to 85 years old and never having any goals, that's just like having the dress or the suit on a mannequin. It's just there. It looks good because you got a life, but there's nothing to it. It's no earrings. It's no makeup. It's no, shoes or ties or shirts or blouses. None of that stuff is there because it hasn't been accessorized. Well, how many accessories do you want on your life? That's going to be predicated on how many goals you have in your life. If you have a lot of goals, you got a lot of accessories, right? And you can have as many bracelets and earrings and shoes and necklaces and all these different things, ties and everything you want to have. You can have as many of those you want to accessorize your life, which are your goals. So how good would your life look to you? It's going to be always predicated on how many goals you have in your life. If you don't have goals, I'm telling you, your life going to look real bland. And then you're going to start saying, ooh, I'm bored, because your life look bland. You got a bland life. Not that you got a bad life, it's just a bland one, right? So you need to accessorize your life. Now, in being that, you got to look at it as being that your life is big, life is short, but at the same time, life is a lot. Now that's not saying life is a lot, saying that it's something negative. Life is a lot. You got a lot going on in your life, right? I know you personally, but I know that you're a person on the planet, and every person on the planet, especially after you become an adult, right? Maybe when you're 10 years old, maybe you don't have that much going on. But when you become an adult, life is a lot. You got a lot of stuff going on in your life. Now, unfortunately, a lot of us don't realize that we have a lot going on in life because of the fact that when you become an adult, a lot more things are in place for you to have a lot going on. So this is why it's imperative that you have some goals in your life, because life is a lot. There's a lot of stuff that you got to do, right? Even if you say, I'm not going to have any goals, that's cool. But then you still got stuff that you got to be responsible for, right? So goals, life in itself, will help you set goals if you want to actually make your life look attractive to yourself. Now, I used the word a few times thus far since we've been talking. I used the word called achievement, right? And what you want to eventually get to, and this is why you want to make goal setting not just a beginning of the year thing, you want to make it a lifestyle. And again, you can be alive, but not really living, right? That's why a lot of people are alive, like having these bland lives. They are alive. And I know technically alive and living is the same thing, but I want you to hear what I'm saying here, that you can be alive, but you're not. The question we need to ask is, how are you living? How are you living? And how you living has something to do with the goals you have, right? And this is why goals will add some life to your life. See, some people are lifeless people because they're goalless people. See, when you have some goals, then you add some life to your life. And if you go less, then you're taking away from your life unconsciously or subconsciously. So you have to add some goals to your life. And this is what achievement is based about. You should be achieving things in your life, not just when you 18 years old or anything like that, or maybe when you're 22, got out of college. No, you should be achieving things in your life quite often. Even if you're 40 years old, even if you're 65 years old, you can still achieve something, because it's not a law saying, whoa, wait. How old are you? I'm 47 years old. Oh, you can't achieve anymore. That's against the law. No more achievement for you, buddy. That's it. No, you can be 85. What you doing, man? I'm achieving things. Oh, no, we got to put you away. No, you can't be achieving things. No, you can achieve things until you get up out of here. You can achieve things as long as you want. You can start as early as you want, and you can go as long as you want, because it's not a law against achieving. So you want to be a achiever, and that's what makes you a total life achiever. And you'll hear me say that several times throughout the series. But you want to be a total life achiever, meaning that achievement is what you do. But achievement is what you do based on you having goals, and not just having goals set or saying, I'm going to have these goals set at the beginning of the year only, right? You want to set goals in July, and you want to set goals in September. You want to set goals in November, April, anytime you want. You want to set goals all throughout the year. Now, people in business, a lot of times, they're used to conversation like this because business is based on a lot of goals, right? Especially if you're in some type of sales business or some type of entrepreneur thing, you hear the word goals a lot. And for me, I didn't really understand goals until I became an adult. I knew you had goals like get out of high school, go to college, get out of college, or whatever, things like that, get on the athletic team or whatever, right? I knew you had those type of goals, but I didn't know that goals was done strategically. No one in my environment ever really taught me that, not that it was bad. We didn't talk about that. So I'm an adult when I start realizing how to strategically set goals for my life. And my goals came from on a negative side, meaning that I found out what I didn't want, because the truth of the matter is, when I was about 18, 19, I really didn't know what I wanted, right? Now, maybe some of you all, y'all found out what you wanted at 10 years old, and that's wonderful. That wasn't my story, right? So I'm at this time I'm in the military, and I went to the military because really, I was gonna try to figure out what I want to do in life because I didn't really know what I wanted, right? What I really wanted to do. So when I got involved in was in the military about my, I don't know, my second year, third year, I started realizing, well, I don't think I want to do this for the rest of my life, right? What the type of job? Nothing against the military. I just think I wanted to do something different. But because I found out something that I didn't want to do, that helped me find out things I wanted to do. Because I just came and said, I don't know what I want to do. I guess I'll do this, which is how a lot of people live their life all their life. They just kind of like doing anything and everything just because they don't know what they want. So once you figure out what you don't want, that can help you find out what you do want. Now, what was a priority for me at that time in my life, my main focus, my main focus in my life was money, right? Because I didn't have much of it and I needed a whole lot more, right? So money was like all I did. I wanted money. So that was a goal. I needed more money, right? Now, again, even though I didn't know how to strategically set goals and know how to strategically get them and how to make it a lifestyle, it took me some more years to figure that out in life. But as I figured it out, I figured out my life is big. So in order to become a achiever, let's look at that word for a moment. And if you follow me for any length of time, you know that I like to take words apart and put them back together again. So the word achiever has a root word. If you research the word out in several languages, it's the chief in there. It's actually the word that we get in the English called chief, right? So when you have a chief is a leader, right? Leader is someone taking someone from here to there, giving instructions. So let's see, can we put this in layman's terms? When you are an achiever, then there's something, you are actually a chief in your life. You should be a leader in your life, so to speak. But here's the thing. What leads you are your goals. Now here, we're going to take this back. So if you don't have any goals to lead you, then where are you going? That means that you're not a real good chief because you don't have any goals to lead you anywhere, right? So that means you have to realize that you are the chief of your life, right? Now, I'm not trying to be all, I know some people say, no, some people that's very religious and everything. No, God's the leader. We're going to make that automatic. We just talking about you and I, regular people. We'll give God his credit. That's what he is, right? Yeah, he's the chief over your life. Well, we're talking about you, your part of this thing that you got to play, right? So that means that you are the chief and you need some goals to help lead and direct you. Now, here's the other part of the word achieve that I want you to understand. Another part of that word we get in the English is called chef, C-H-E-F. So when you are a chef, if you know a chef or you ever seen a chef, ever heard of a chef, the purpose of a chef job is to be back there in the kitchen cooking food, right? You order one thing, I order one thing, the chef back there doing what they do, right? They cooking food up and getting that food together. Well, here's the reality. You and I, we are life chefs. You should always be back in the kitchen, so to speak, cooking up some goals. See, now, if you're not cooking up any goals, then you're a bad chef because that means you're going to starve to death, right? Because the purpose of the chef is to cook food. The purpose of the achiever is to cook up goals. This is why it's imperative that you look at goal setting and goal achieving or goal getting. You look at that as a lifestyle, something you do January 1 to December 31st, not just something you do on January 1st and then forget about it January 21st. No, it's something you do on January 1st. You do it on February 15th. You do it on March 12th. You do it on April, 27th, May 18th. You do it on June 15th. You just keep on doing it. You see what I'm saying? You just keep on doing it throughout the whole year, throughout the next decade, throughout your entire life. You just keep on cooking up some goals. That's when you know that you are an achiever. And another name for an achiever we'll call them go-getters. See, some people, when they have a negative connotation of a go-getter, they look at them aggressive and all these things. And that's not true. Go-getters have goals. That's what go-getters have. They have goals and they have goals in different parts of their life and they're working on those goals. That's why they're not bored because they're go-getters, they're achievers. They're back in the back room cooking up some goals for themselves. They don't wait till January 1st to cook up goals. They cooked up goals in October. They cooked up goals in August. They cooked up goals all the time because of the fact that's what they do. They're go-getters or They are life chefs. They do some cooking all the time. Now, see, if you want to be an achiever, you're going to have to have the same mentality. So for me, I use goals as an acronym. Now, something's kind of funny. I say so many things on these shows. Now, see other people quote my stuff, they don't even give me no credit. So, oh my God, come on now. So if you hear me say something, somebody might have said, I heard some people saying some stuff about some of the stuff I taught them, and then they say it like it's their own. So I might be saying some things. You might say, oh, he got that from what's his name? Right? But this is something that I go by. And I use goals as an acronym, GOALS, right? And I put S in parentheses. But for me, goals for me is get out and live some, right? And what do I mean by that? When you have a goal, you can get out from beyond where you are and live some. Some of us don't live at all because we don't have goals at all. The more goals you have, you're getting out beyond the life that you're living. And this is why your life gets bigger, because you're expanding yourself, because you're moving beyond where you are to add to your life with the goals that you have. Now, if you don't have any goals, then it's going to seem like your life is caving in on you. It's going to seem like your life is shrinking up on you. It's going to seem like the ceiling is always on top of your head and everything. It seems like you always squished up. Why? Because of the fact that you don't have any goals to get beyond where you are. Get out and live. Get out and live in your finances. Get out and live in your spiritual life. Get out and live in your education. Get out and live in your relationships. Get out and live in your health, right? These are areas that you got to get out and live. And when you can't get out and live, if you don't have goals set, a spiritual goal set, how are you going to get out beyond where you are spiritually? If you don't have a relationship goal set, how are you going to get beyond where you are in your relationships? If you don't have a financial goal set, how are you going to get out and beyond where you are financially? You're not. You're going to stay in the same spots all the time, not because you're a bad person. It's because you are not good at setting goals in your life. That means you're going to be good at being a goalless person. And we don't want to be a goalless person, because that means you're not in the kitchen cooking up some goals. And your job, you can't wait on someone to set your goals for you, right? Because that means that you got to wait on them to go and cook up a goal. And usually, if somebody got to set a goal for you, then that means the goal benefits them probably more than it benefits you, right? Because you refuse to set your own goals, that means you're waiting around for mama and daddy, sister, brother, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, grandma, uncle, best friend. You waiting on all these people to set goals for you. And you know what? They got their own life to live. They got to set goals for themselves. And if they start having to set goals for you too, trust me, you're going to be part of the goals that they have more than they part of the goals that you have. So this is why it's imperative that you have to look at yourself as a goal achiever, that you ought to be cooking up some goals. You need to be making sure you in the back room or the kitchen or whatever, cooking up some goals. We don't need to just be cooking up goals at the beginning of the year. That's fine that you thought about cooking some goals at the beginning of the year, but you got to cook goals throughout the year if you want to achieve some things, if you want to be a go-getter. So you want to be a go-getter and, and not just be a person that's on the planet, then you got to cook up some goals. So here's something for you, right? Back in the day, with money, it used to be backed by goals, or gold, I should say, GOLD. So that means that if you had money, a paper dollar, how much money that country printed up was all based on how much gold, GOLD, they had stored up. So I want you to see how important this is. Well, if they didn't have enough gold based on their printed money, then if they had all this printed money, didn't have any gold, their money could be considered useless. Now, this is back in the day now. This is not the same way today, but I'm just trying to give you some history here. So their financial system or their economy was backed by the gold that they had. Now, let's look at you using that example that I have. Your life is going to be backed by the goals you have, not GOLD, but GOALS, right? So goals are gold to you if you're a go-getter, right? So that means that if you want to know where your goal, GOLD, is, just look at your goal, GOALS. Your goals are your goals. They should be backing you all the time. If you don't have any goals that you have achieved and you don't have any goals that you want to achieve, you don't have anything backing you at all. So if you don't have anything backing you, then how are you going to achieve anything? How are you going to have a better relationship if you don't have any goals in the relationship? How are you going to have better health if you don't have any goals in your health? How do you gonna have better finances if you don't have any goals in finances? Then if you look back at your yesterday, your finances might not be bad yesterday. Your health might be bad yesterday. Your relationship's bad yesterday. Spiritual life, all these different things might be bad yesterday, all because you just didn't have any goals. Now, here's the thing. When you are walking through this life, and this is the reason why I say your life is backed by the goals you have, is that if I ask a person, let's say for example, I met this 40-year-old person, and I say, now they didn't do much in their 20s. So when I asked them, hey, tell me what happens in your 20s, you're 40 years old, from 20 to 30, what happened in your life? And they said, man, I don't know what happened, man. Nothing really happened. I mean, what did you achieve? They said, man, it's like just a blur, man. I really don't know what happened in my 20s, right? Did you get a house, get a car, get a boat, get a plane? What you get? No, I don't know, man. I just don't remember. All right. Okay, that's cool. Now, the reason why that person can't remember because they don't have any goals. They didn't have any goals in that time. Now I talked to another person that's 40 years old. Hey, what did you do? Now this person probably went to college, got a job, opened up a business, whatever. They did a few things in their 20s, right? So when you ask them what did they do in that time period, they'll say, hey, I got my first car, I got my first job, I took a trip, or whatever they did in their 20s, right? Went to college, got a degree, got married, got divorced, whatever, had 2 babies, whatever they had, and whatever type of goals they had in that 20s. Now here's the point I'm making. Anytime in your life where you really can't remember it, last year, the year before, 5 years ago, when I was 20, when I was 35, when you can't remember certain times, those are the times you probably didn't have any goals in those areas. See, because anytime you achieve things in life, you may not remember all the details that went along with it. Like first I did this and then I seen them and it was 1201. Then I seen that. You may not remember all the details, but when you achieve certain things at certain times, a person that went to, again, we're going to use the example of the 20s. They went to college and they moved to another state and got a new job and got their first apartment or their first condo or house or bought their first car or whatever they did, right? Got their first credit card, whatever they did. They can tell you like, oh yeah, I remember when I graduated in, 2010. Yeah, I graduated in 2010. And then I bought my first car. It was an old car, blue car, red car, right? They can start telling you these things they achieve because that's proof that they achieved something. And if you achieved anything, that's probably proof that you had goals in those areas because in order to get them, you had to set them, right? So you were probably an achiever. So it's nothing you can do about the time you missed in the past, right? I call those times, they like gaping holes, right? We all have these, right? We all have these gaps in our yesterday, from last 3 years. I don't know what happened in my life, right? I mean, what happened in their life with this time? I don't know, because those are gaps in our life, right? Now, it's nothing you can do today to change those gaps that you had in your life 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, right? So that's nothing you can do about. What you can do something about is making sure you can prevent having gaps in the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now. You can do that. And the way that you do that is by having some goals in your life to prevent you from having gaps in your life. The more goals you have in your life, the fewer gaps you're going to have in your life. If you have these wide old gaps, that's probably mean because you don't have very many goals. So see, I told you already, your life is a lot. I told you already that life is big, right? And now someone may say, well, you said life is short too. So, hey, who said I'm going to be here for the next 5 or 10 years? That's true. Who said you won't though? Who said you won't be here in the next 5 or 10 years? I don't know if you're going to be here for the next 5 or 10 years, but hey, you might be here for the next 5 or 10 years. So doesn't it just make sense to have some goals just in case you are here for the next 5, 10, 15 years, that you did achieve something for the last 5, 10, 15 years? If you don't start thinking that way, what happens is that you're going to start getting yourself around these people that's ill-informed about achievement, right? They're ill-informed about accomplishing or achieving anything, right? Because of the fact that they don't have any goals. So some people will tell you, hey, you 50 years old. Why are you still trying to achieve something? Hey, wait, aren't you 65? Sit your butt down somewhere and do nothing, right? Hey, you're too young. You're only 21. Why are you trying to achieve stuff in your 20s? I mean, you're young. Wait till you get 90. Then you see, somebody will always try to tell you don't achieve goals, don't have goals, you're doing too much and everything. But I already shared with you, life is a lot. Your life is big. And anybody that try to tell you not to achieve in any area of your life, they're not good for your life. You said, but that's my mama. Well, you should not talk to her about goals a lot. That's my daddy. Don't say nothing to him about goals a lot. Because those people, I don't care who they are, if they tell you don't go out to be an achiever, you're hurting your life. Why? Because life is short. You're only here for a certain period of time. You got to do what you got enough time to do what you can to achieve some goals and add some life to your life, and not just sit around here and have this bland life. I was here and I'm gone. No, you should be achieving something in the time frame that you got here and before you leave from here. And you only do that by getting around people that talk about and live this thing called achievement. In other words, you get around goal setters and you get around goal getters, right? And goal setters and goal getters are always talking about getting goals. They don't just wait once a year and say, okay, we're going to talk about goals because it's once a year. No. Let me share with you this. A lot of times people say, man, I don't want to set no goals. I hear what you're saying, man. That sounds good. I might be a little inspired, a little motivated. I don't know. But, man, you understand. See, I set goals before in my life. And, and I set these goals, so I don't even set goals. And then some people say, I don't like to use goals and everything. I like to use, New Year's resolutions, right? And that's cool too, right? But a lot of people say, well, I don't make no more resolutions because I don't keep resolutions, so I don't make resolutions. And that's cool too, right? But see, we got this, again, I like to break up words and break them down and put them back together again. So let's look at that word resolution for a moment. And in that word means back or again. And solution is just that, solution, right? So a solution is an answer to a problem, right? A correct answer, really. So let's see, can we break this down, can this make sense? When you have a solution, you make a resolution, you're using the solution that you had and you're using it again. So let's use that for example. We're going to say I want to lose 20 pounds, right? And last year I lost 5 pounds. We say that, right? So what I'm going to do is do a resolution. I'm going to use a solution again to lose the other 15 pounds. The same things I did to get the 5 pounds off, I'm going to use that solution again. That's why we call it a resolution. The reason why a lot of people don't want to make resolutions and set goals because they don't have any solutions. They didn't do nothing last month, so they can't do the same solution this month. They didn't do nothing last year, so they can't use the same solution this year. They didn't do nothing last decade, so they can't do anything this decade, right? Because of the fact that they don't have any solutions. Your job, goals are how you solve problems in your life. You got problems, you need solutions. And goals are what you use to solve some of the problems that you have. If you have a financial problem, you need a financial solution. And guess how you get that? You get that with a financial goal. The financial goal will help solve the financial problem. You got a health problem, and guess what? You solve that by having a health solution, which is having a health goal, which is your health solution to help solve your health problem. Now, see, this is why goals are so important because all through the year, we got these problems and we need solutions. Now, let's look at problem for a moment. Since I'm breaking down words, since I'm on a roll, I try not to do that many words in one show. But let's see, since I'm on a roll. The word problem. The verb pro in problem, pro means forward. So anytime you see pro in the word, it means forward. And blem, blem, means to throw, right? So when you get a problem, it's to throw you forward. Okay, so let me add something else to that. Remember I said solution, right? Goal solution. So it's another word called promise. And again, it has pro, that means forward. And miss in that word, M-I-S-E, amise, in that word means to send. Okay? So when you have a goal, you are making a promise to yourself. You're making a health promise. You're making a financial promise. You're making a relationship promise, a career promise. All these different. You're making promises to yourself. And so when you have these problems, to throw you into a promise. But if you don't have a goal, you can still have a problem. But I guess the goal, the problem just be throwing you all over the place. Right? Again, here we are. This tumbleweed just blowing through the wind, right? Because we don't have any goals. So these goals are there to make us a promise keeper to ourselves. You have to keep a promise, but you can't keep a promise if you don't set a goal or make a promise to yourself. Now, this is not about anybody else. This is about you. You want to lose 20 pounds? That's a goal. That's a promise. That's sent forward. You put that out there. Now you need a problem. Like the doctor say, hey, you gonna lose this weight. You're gonna break your ankles. You say, woo, I like my ankles, right? So, so you got to lose this weight so you won't mess up your knees and mess up your ankles, right? So now you have a problem that's throwing you into a promise, which is a goal that you have set. Goals are very important to have. They're too important not to have. Again, that's what makes you a life achiever. That's what has you cooking up goals. Again, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person because you have a problem. No, no, no. Doesn't mean that at all. What it means, you may not do as good as you want to do in life if you don't make any promises or have any goals set in your life. So you have these goals backing you, right? Get out and live. Remember, that's the acronym we have for goals. Get out and live. Yeah, it's good to make those things at the first of the year, but get out and live all the time. Otherwise, you're going to live this boring life, not because you're a boring person. I guess you will end up being a boring person because you don't have any goals. Now, see, I've been living by goals for a long time. I told you, when I was young, that's when I started understanding how to strategically do goals. Now, I haven't got every goal I wanted when I wanted it, so I'm not going to try to say that that's how, just because you have goals, you're going to get everything you want. And you got to do some work, man. You got to put some work in these things, right? However, what I will say, a lot of stuff that I've done, I wouldn't have done it without goals, right? And so the problem is that when we don't have any achievements in our life, it's kind of hard to look at 20 years and achieve nothing and be excited about life. Looking at the last 20 years, you didn't achieve anything on your occupation, didn't achieve anything over here, didn't achieve over there. It's kind of hard to look at that for the last 10, 15, 20 years and then kind of start smiling and cheesing. Talking about, yeah, I'm glad I live. You get kind of like disgusted at yourself, not because you're a bad person, because you haven't achieved anything. And the only reason why we don't achieve as much as we can is because we don't set goals as often as we can. We need to set goals all the time so we can achieve something all the time, right? Again, if you don't understand that, then you're going to put yourself in a bad situation. So one of the things you have to do, and I'm going to, expound on this even more as we go in the series, you have to get good at making a list. You got to make a list of some of the things you want. Now, I know some of the things you may want. You say, I tried to do that 5 years ago. I tried to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. Some goals, some things you can achieve without any help. And what I mean by any help, like a relationship goal is a little bit different than a financial goal. What I mean by that, you can say, I want to earn $10,000 this month, right? You can say something like that. And that's just a matter of whatever your business is and going out there to earn $10,000, right? Yeah, you need help from people or whatever. But a relationship goal, you need somebody else to participate, right? Like if you're not in a relationship we're going to call this an intimate relationship. You need someone to participate with you in order to have a goal, intimate relationship goals, right? If you don't have anyone to participate with you, you can't have a goal that way in a relationship, right? Or you can be having a goal with your imaginary person, whatever, right? But if you want a real person, now that goal, you are going to need someone to participate in that relationship goal with you, right? Like I have a goal we're going to go out to dinner every week for the next 5 weeks, right? That's a relationship goal that you may have with someone. Now that's somebody else you need to kind of include in the goal, right? Which is okay, because as we go on, you're going to see some goals you need to include people in some of these goals. Now you losing 10 pounds, yeah, you might need to go get a personal trainer, but you might just need to walk around the block. See, that's all you. A personal trainer, yeah, will help you, but walking around the block would help you too. You don't need any help with that, right? So those are how some of the ways you want to look at goal setting, and we're going to get more into that. So here's something for you, because I said how, that you are a total life achiever. And I said that you're going to have one of the things you're going to have to do, you're going to have to make a list of some of the things you want. You're going to have to blow the dust off some of this stuff that you haven't gotten. You got to look at things and say, okay, even though I have these gaps in my life, you're going to have to make a promise to yourself that you're going to be a goal setter and a goal getter, not a goalless person. Because here's the thing, right? And I'm a parent, so I probably can come from a different direction by saying it this way. That it's a lot of people that may be watching you, children, nieces, nephews, people younger than you. And when you start achieving goals, you will encourage them to achieve goals, even if you don't say anything about them achieving goals, right? What ends up happening a lot of time in our lives as we get older, we don't really meet a lot of people actually going out there making it happen, right? When you're young, it seems like everybody trying to do something. When you're 20 years old, they're trying to go to school, they're trying to open a business, they're trying to do these different things. But then when people get about 40 years old, for some reason, they kind of like lose the little zeal they had, right? They don't have the same energy. And the reason why they don't have that zeal and energy, because they don't have any goals. Goals will add energy and add excitement, vitality to your life. And if you feel that your life is not that vital, or you don't have any vitality, I should say, in your life, chances are you probably don't have any goals. This is why goals help so much. Yeah, it's good to achieve, but it's good to work towards achievement, right? It's good to work towards these things in your relationships. It's good to work towards these things in your health. It's good to work towards these things in your finances, education, whatever, career. It's good to work towards these things. But if you don't have any goals, then all this stuff just seems like just like a drab, like, oh man, here we go again. And so this is why we have so many people strolling around through on the planet, and they're not excited about too many things on the planet at all. Why? Because they live these goalless lives. And this thing can turn around for you, like it turned around for me and many other people on the planet. If you start making goal setting, goal getting, or being a total life achiever, if you start making that a lifestyle, remember, yeah, you alive, but the question we need to ask, how you living, right? How are you living, right? And the best way to accessorize your life, the best way to make your life look pretty, handsome, look gorgeous, beautiful, is by adding some goals to it. Add some goals to it, not just on January 1st, right? Not just on the beginning of the year, because people do the countdown, right? You know, uh, I've been coaching people and consulting with people for a long time in business and personal. And every year at the end of the year, beginning of the year, they always say, "This is my year, man. Watch out. Watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make it happen, man. Just watch and see. Wait and see. Wait and see." Man, they sound good. They sound real good, right? And what happens is, 30 days after the year start, man, they talking about, well, next year, I'm gonna make it happen, right? You mean you gonna wait another 11 months to say the same thing you said this year or last year? Well, see, the thing is that when you don't make this a lifestyle, then those things are what you would do. And this is why people get frustrated with setting goals or having resolutions, because they know they're looking at their history. See, I may not know their history, right? Because I just met them today, right? I just met them last week. But they know their history, and they know, man, I said the same thing 5 years ago. I had a rhyme for the year like I had this year. And so now they get so disgusted, and they really don't trust themselves that they can set a goal and go get it, right? They really think that, what? Why should I set goals? Because I'm not going to get them anyway. And that's not true, because you still can get the goals you set, but you have to realize that setting goals must become a lifestyle to you, because you must realize that goals make the world go round. So you got to look at goals are good. You got to look, goals are good to have. They're good for you, and they'll be good to you. You also must look at that goals are beneficial for you as well. If you don't realize that the goals you have are beneficial for you, then you won't go out there and try to get in on the goals. You won't try to set them, and nor would you try to get them. So let's look at this, because my time is winding down. Let's look at the word beneficial. And the word beneficial comes from the word benefit. So benefit, BENE, in that word means good. And obviously fit means that, right? So when something is beneficial, it's a good fit, right? See, if you don't have a goal, then you won't be a good fit into a goal that you have. If you have nothing there, what are you fitting into, right? So when you have a goal, you're putting yourself in a position to be a good fit to get out and living beyond the life that you're living right now. You're a good fit for every goal you have. You had a health goal, you are a good fit for that. You fit in perfectly for that when you are a goal achiever. When you want to be back in the back of the house in the kitchen, cooking up some goals, you might cook up some goals at 2 o'clock in the morning sometime. They might cook up some goals at 12 in the afternoon. But your job as an achiever is to always be in the process of cooking up as many goals as possible, as often as possible, in as many areas of your life as possible. And you do that as long as you're here, because life is short, even though there's a lot to do. So you can't actually be a goal achiever and be a bored person at the same time. You choose which one you want to be. If being an achiever is what you want to be, and you're tired of being bored, tired of just doing a bunch of nothing, because if you're doing a bunch of nothing, then nothing is what you're going to have, because nothing is what you're doing, because nothing is what you are searching or seeking for. But if you got some goals out there, you can take nothing off the table. See, nothing won't be part of your life. Doing nothing, having nothing, being nothing, that won't be part of your life anymore if you start getting some goals, because goals are something. And when you have goals, you have something in your finances. When you have goals, you have something in your spiritual life. You have something in your relationship. When you have something, but if you don't have a spiritual goal, then you're going to have a nothing in your spiritual life. If you have a career goal, you're going to have nothing in your career. If you don't have a relationship goal, you're going to have nothing in your relationships. If you don't have a health goal, you're going to have nothing in your health. So you're not here long enough to do too much nothing. Life is short, but you're here long enough to do a bunch of something. And that's why you need goals, so you can have something going on in your life. So when life wakes you up in the morning, or ask you in the afternoon, or shake you and nudge you in the evening and say, where are you going? And you got some goals, you know where you're going. So I want you to understand that that's important. Goals are important. This is the first part of this series. I said a whole lot. Obviously, I'm going to say even more. So let's do a small recap. Goals are important, right? Want to know that. And want to know that life is questioning you every day. Life is asking you a question, where are you going? And goals will give you an indication of where you're going. If you don't have any goals, then that means you're going nowhere. Nowhere means you have nothing or nothing in life regarding those areas where you don't have goals. However, you're going to be a total life achiever, right? You should be always cooking up some goals. You should always be in your life cooking up some goals in your health, in your finances, wherever it may be. You need to be cooking up some goals. Also, we've said that you must look at it as goals are beneficial. They're beneficial to you, right? Goals are good to have. You need to have those goals in your life. So I said a whole lot today. I hope you got something from it. I do appreciate you taking the time and sitting here watching me and everything and taking some notes. I hope you did that. And keep in mind, as I always do before I close, keep in mind that great people like you were born great. However, you need to consistently work on yourself to become a greater you. And I'll see you next time.